All right, guys, welcome to the Onelife Podcast. Today, you got the pleasure to have Cinthia here.
Hi.
Thank you for being on.
Thank you.
She's a posing coach, a personal trainer. Her and her husband, personal trainers, actually.
Yeah.
And you also compete in bikini, correct?
Yes.
Cool. So let's go back to what. And you're born in Mexico. You haven't been in the States for too long.
No. Well, I would say about a decent amount of time. I was born and raised in Mexico.
Yep.
And I moved here in 2014. February.
Were you training back in Mexico? Was that a normal thing?
No, actually, my training and all my fitness journey kind of started once I was here.
Did it really?
I got here, in 2016 when I met my husband.
Because your husband's a gym buff, right?
Yes.
So was he the influence on you?
He was my influence.
So had he been training for a long time before you guys met?
Yes, yeah.
Your environment is everything, right?
Yes.
If he was overweight and unhealthy, chances are you could have gone that way, but you're lucky enough to meet someone who was active and...
Yes. And
were you healthy? Were you active?
I was actually, it's funny because that's how we kind of met. We figured that we were going, we met online. But,
okay. That's so normal these days.
Yes, it is. And, but we actually saw that we went to the same gym and everything.
Gotcha, okay.
Different times. And he actually just did, I was the cardio person, you know.
Aren't we all, right? Until we know different.
Cardio, yeah, only cardio, my Zumba classes, because I love dancing since being Mexican. And my husband was in the weight room, and so we figured, let's meet and see if we like each other in person, and then we started dating after that.
And just started clicking. And why were you doing cardio when you first started training? Was it because you didn't know any different? You felt uncomfortable in the weight room?
No, actually, it was because I didn't really know any difference.
So you're thinking you're doing probably the best thing?
Yeah, at that point, I wanted to start exercising, and I moved to the U.S. and I got better medical health care. And so my doctor at that point, I was about to be 30. Well, I was 30 actually, and my doctor said you're kind of pre-diabetic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 30, almost 30.
How much more weight were you carrying opposed to where you're at now?
About 140.
Okay, so you weren't too big.
No, but I carried. I'm 5'0". I'm 5.
Okay.
God, so I'm not too short. I'm short. So
not too short.
Not too short, but short.
Gotcha. And that's the thing, right? A lot of people are like, you don't have to be obese to be a diabetic or pre-diabetic. Yeah. Sometimes I think it's a blessing in disguise for people who do put weight on, because then they know they're unhealthy and they're aware of it. But if you're one of these people who are like a greyhound and you don't put weight on, doesn't mean you're healthy on the inside.
Exactly.
And you kind of found that out, didn't you?
Yeah, and then diabetes does run in my family.
Okay.
My father, my grandma, and so when I heard pre, I kind of got spooked and I was like, yeah, I have to do something. So it was my wake-up call.
We always talk about wake-up calls here, and talk to me about that wake-up call.
So that was my wake-up call, and I was like, I need to do something, and started eating a little bit better, not really doing the research, not doing. I did went to get quotes for personal training, and I was.
But you're taking some type of action, right? Which is more important than no action.
Exactly. Yeah. So progressively, I just kept going to the gym, like just again being in the cardio, just doing cardio for a little, and I did touch the weights, the machines here and there. What I knew how to do.
Dabbling a little bit.
Yeah. But it was just because when I was younger in Mexico, I used to do a little bit, but not too much. When I was middle school, high school, I was a cheerleader, so I was pretty active. Yeah. My background, when I was, a child, I was a gymnast too. So, I've always been some sort of have activity in my life.
So you definitely weren't expecting to become pre-diabetic.
Exactly. And what happened was that I got into a job role that required from me a lot of traveling, a lot of eating out, sales.
We literally made a video about this the other day.
Yeah.
When you leave school, you go from not having home cooked meals anymore, you start eating out, you're not cooking very well, you don't have as much money, you don't have as much time, you're working full time, you're going out on the weekends, you're drinking, you're partying, and what happens, 25, 30, it catches up on you quite quickly.
It does.
And you're not expecting it because you've always been thin.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of what happened with you, wasn't it?
I completely agree with that. I started with, when I started working for that company, I was in my, ideal weight, but I was not as muscular as I am right now, because right now I'm on my ideal weight, but my composition is completely
but you're
different.
also training for it, and you've been training for a while now.
So, but back then I was, just skinny, thin, and pass the time doing all of these things, traveling, doing a lot of sales meetings in restaurants with people that so it catches up. It does,
doesn't it? Yeah. So. And just to be skinny doesn't mean you're healthy either, because skinny fat is completely different to being skinny and healthy.
That's what I was. I was skinny fat for sure. Yeah.
How so you said you're 5 foot?
Yeah.
What are you weighing now?
Right now I'm 116.
116.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really light. You got a bit of you got a lot of muscle there.
I was 111 pounds in my last show, so it was stage weight, so I'm about 5 pounds over.
That's not much over, is it?
No,
that's not. Like within reach. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm
trying to stay leaner this time.
How lean would you say you're sitting at the moment?
So when I usually. I love data. I'm an engineer, but that's my bachelor's degree,
okay,
actually.
I'm interested to hear this then.
So I love data, and one of the things that I like doing before I start a prep or before I start my competition season, I like doing a DEXA scan to see my body composition.
Which is probably the best thing to do, right?
Yeah.
Where do you do that at?
There's a place here, it's called DEXA Fit.
Oh, you can just go in and do it there.
Yeah.
Because I need to actually get it done for myself, so I'm going to look into that.
Yeah, I have a link.
Okay, I'll hold you to that.
So, and I like doing that every time I start, and then that gives me the information that I need and to know, okay, I'm 20% body fat, I need to, come down to 11 or whatever. So how many pounds of fat is that, and how much muscle I have.
For people who don't know what a DEXA scan is, can you just give a general outline?
So a DEXA scan is a scan. It's a test. You lay down on a scanner.
Are you laying on this one?
Yeah. Okay. So it's sort of like an MRI.
Yep. Like the machine.
Yeah. And so it will cover. Will go all the way through your body. And you have to stay still for about 6 minutes, which
that's hard for most people.
But after that, you can't do or you can't do really anything. So then after that, they give you your results.
It's like a readout, isn't it? Like a printed readout.
Yep. It tells you exactly where your body fat is distributed.
Your height, your
muscles,
weight,
your body fat percentage, your muscle amount.
Like if you weigh 100 pounds, you've got X amount of fat, X amount of muscle, X amount of water, right?
And they also tell you the difference, how much body fat you have, visceral fat, which is the important one, really.
Like the brown fat, would you say?
The visceral fat. That's the fat that is attached to the organs, and that's the
necessary,
the dangerous one. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So that's the one that everybody should be concerned about more than the subcutaneous one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because that's that body fat, or that fat, is what prevents organs to function properly.
Okay.
So I do that before, and then I do one right after. And right after my competition, I did one 2 days before, and the week before, and I was 10.5% body fat.
That's really lean.
For a female, it is.
For a female, that's really lean for a guy, but for a female, that's incredibly lean. You should have seen the girls on that stage, though. I can tell you they were lower than 10%. Were they really?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. And this is bikini.
Yes. Bikini is progressing. Transforming. I don't know if it's in a good way or in a bad way, to be honest, but.
Because I had Jen on recently. She competes in bikini. She's saying you don't want to be too lean. That can go against you. But this
in the regional level, yes.
Okay.
I was told quite a few times that I was too conditioned for a regional level show.
Okay.
But then thinking about that, I didn't bring that same level of conditioning for my national show, which is the one that I just did to try to get my pro card.
Okay.
And that played against me. So.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you need to be super lean.
Gotcha. I mean, that's very lean.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing weights for now?
So I started in 2016 when I met my husband.
And you're so lucky that you started with somebody who knew what they're doing.
Yes.
Isn't that a huge advantage, right?
It is. That's why, one of the things that I say to everybody that wants to start is ask for advice from someone that knows.
Somebody who looks the part.
A coach. It doesn't necessarily has to be someone that that you have to pay a lot of money. There are a lot of hidden gems in every gym,
and especially now social media, there's so much access to good information.
And you to do your research too. I also been learning a lot from just YouTube and watching videos, watching a lot of coaches out there.
That's the beauty about doing this. There's somebody sitting there and they get to get value from what you've said and your experience, and that's the whole reason for doing this. So that's awesome. And then you do posing coaching. How did you get into that, and what's involved? I don't know much about that. What's involved in that?
Well, 2019 was my first competition. Actually, my husband didn't really, as my coach, he didn't let me really compete until I have enough muscle to be competitive.
It makes sense, doesn't it?
It does. But a lot of people right now, like in these days, rush it. They rush the process to go on the stage.
Okay.
On the stage
and that can probably discourage you if you don't play, so you don't do very well, because just like anything, it takes time.
Yes, it does. So after he was like, I'm gonna help you with your physique, but I'm gonna from right now tell you that we're gonna have to go with someone that knows about posting. And so
because he's not the guy.
Because he wasn't.
But isn't that amazing? He can just admit, like, hey, I'm not that guy for that job.
Yeah, and
we'll find the right person for that job.
He does posting for male too, for the male.
Is it probably a lot different though, right?
Yes, males and females are completely different. He does know well now. Back then he wasn't really sure about bikini and all the female divisions, but after going with the posing coach that we went to back in Washington, she's so experienced. She was awarded so many times in the Olympia, which is the biggest show for bodybuilding.
So you went to the best of the best.
Yeah.
Why not, right?
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
So she taught us a lot, and he picked up on everything. So now he can. He always had the eye, to see.
Yeah.
And so am I. So I can see someone and see, okay, I want to see both sides, even though they pose on the left side. I want to see your other side because it might be better,
Gotcha.
So.
So it's more than just teaching someone to pose. You're looking for what size best represents.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Posing is all about you can have a really good physique, but maybe not the best on stage. But everything is about how you pose, how you perform, and how you show the judges your best angles, your best
angles
shape,
being the word, right? Yeah.
And how you hide your
your weak points.
Your weak points.
Exactly. That's interesting. How do you hide your weak points?
Well, for example, I have super big shoulders. So and I look. If you look me straight, I look uneven. So I look.
Your shoulders are too big for the rest of your body.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting.
So I'm
so you're
too
out of proportion.
So right now I'm working on my legs. So
while you work on your legs, you're hiding it.
I have to twist. Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
Not twist too much, because if I do, then I'll look too broad. That I look imbalanced. Bikini is all about balance.
This is like a fine art.
It's an art, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So many posing coaches here in Las Vegas. They're amazing.
Really?
Yes, they're amazing. And I mean, even me being a posing coach, I still take posing classes with.
Do you really?
Some of them. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can always learn more, though, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. How if you got a new person, how long does it take to teach them how to pose? Is it ongoing with the dieting? Is it a full-time commitment?
It's a ongoing thing, because as they lean down,
the proportions are changing
and the body changes. Exactly. So
is it dramatic how you would change someone's posing, like as they strip down their waist?
There has been some times that it has been.
You're just like, oh my god, we need to start all over again.
Yeah, it's like one time this girl was posing all the time since we started from on the right side, and then when she was all leaned down and like 3 weeks before her show, it's like, let me see your left side. And she posed on the left, and it's like, I'm sorry, but that's your side.
Really?
And she had been posing from the right side.
How interesting is that?
And it was because as she leaned down, she had less body fat. Her glute was better looking on the left side. So
it's holding differently. How interesting is that?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
That's really interesting.
Like you said, it's an art. It's the art of showing your fortes, your 4 points, and hiding.
No, I can see that, because doing photography, it's all about angles.
Yep.
All about angles. And males and females are different. Someone who's overweight opposed to someone who's not. Like photography is angles and lighting.
Yes.
And I feel like being on stage is angles and lighting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And then personal training. When did you start that?
I actually started because I said that I was an engineer. That's my career, and it's so weird.
That's different.
Yeah, but
does your engineering degree transfer into America, or you got to restudy?
Well, actually, they transferred me here when the company.
So that's how you got here.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, they transferred me
Beautiful.
here, so I was working for them. But then when time passed, I met my husband, and we got married. So I could find and do whatever I want.
Yeah.
So at that point, I had started to really love training and personal training and everything, and I was like, I really like this. I told my husband, and he's like, well, maybe you should pursue it. And yeah, so I quit my job, corporate office job.
Did you like the job?
I did, but I didn't, because of the fact of what at that point the corporate life was a little bit too excruciating, in the sense of everybody was looking already too critical over me losing weight, which was sad. Yeah, it was really sad. I heard a couple of times, like, you're not thinking of doing one of those competitions, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about? What if I do?
Why not?
What if I want to?
What business is it yours?
Well, there's some people here that have done those, and that kind of doesn't look good. And
oh, really?
Yeah. So it was kind of like discouraging.
Why?
Yeah.
It's such a mindset thing. It's such a strong mindset thing.
I would have think that people like me and people that actually exercise within the company,
you're not going to get sick.
Exactly.
You're going to be more productive. You're going to motivate other people.
Exactly.
The mindset you develop can be transferred into
it is.
People are the worst, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I love how you just didn't listen.
Yeah, no, I just like, okay, well, you know what, this is not for me then, because I need a company that supports me and that supports what I want to do, because I work to live, not live to work. So I have to take care of myself, and so at that point it was no turning back. So got my PT certification and everything, and started working at LA Fitness.
I love that.
When I quit.
And the thing is, like, 80% of Americans hate what they do for a living. They're literally just going through the motions. They're counting down the clock. They're wishing the week goes by to get to the weekend. And when you work for yourself, there's a saying: if you're counting down to the weekend, you're in the wrong job. And most of the time, I obviously know what day it is, but it makes zero difference in my life, because I love what I do. And yeah, and even money is one thing, but to do what you love, if you got to take a pay cut and do something you love, there's nothing wrong with that, right? And I'm sure you took a big pay cut at first.
This was a massive one, yeah.
But you also have the ability to outdo that pay working for yourself, because entrepreneurs make the most amount of money. We don't all succeed, but you have the potential to make way more money than an engineer working for yourself, even as a trainer.
Yes.
So that's I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Especially if you are if you can prove that you can get your clients to have results. Most of my clients that I've been getting lately have been voice of mouth, someone that recommended me with.
Oh, yeah, like word of mouth type thing. Yeah.
Mouth. Yeah, exactly. And sorry, English is my second language.
No, I speak one language. I'm not criticizing anybody.
So that's how it has been. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
And then the cool thing is you're a walking billboard. Your husband's a walking billboard.
Yeah.
Anybody you train who loses weight is a walking billboard. It just starts to snowball.
Yeah, it's
and Vegas isn't that big.
Yeah, it's so funny because even our daughter just told us, "I want you guys both to come to my parents' meeting together and wear gym clothes," kind of.
Yeah,
because she's like, "I want my friends to see you guys."
Which is awesome, right? How cool is that?
Yeah,
the fact your 15-year-old daughter is proud of her parents being active and fit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Love that. All right, so you've been training for how many years? Would you say?
2016 to 2022, so 7.
So along that time, you always been motivated. You had your ups and downs. Have you lost motivation?
Yeah.
Talk to me about this.
Totally ups and downs. Yeah.
What has brought those ups and downs?
Well, 2016 to 2019, I would say was pretty consistent because I was preparing because the time I started to actually weightlift, I loved it. Yep. Number one, I love lifting heavy. I probably lift pretty heavy for my division. I've heard that a lot. You shouldn't be training like this, but I like it. So
that's what works for you.
Yeah, I mean it's fun, so I have to keep doing what I like to do.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I was doing that, so it was pretty fun. And then I started prepping for my first show in 2019. So all 2019 was pretty consistent, pretty motivated.
You had goals, right?
I had goals, exactly. So as long as you have a goal, I think that's the best way for you to stay motivated, especially if you're one of I'm the type of person that if I have a goal, I have to do it.
Yeah, me too. You got to see it through.
I have to see it through. Yeah, and then 2019 I started after I've competed I did 2 shows and I did pretty well for being my first 2 shows ever, and I was like, I loved it. I want to keep going, continue, and I heard the judges' feedback, and so I started working more on my legs because again, at that point I was very broad, big shoulders. Wasn't really sure if I wanted to do figure, which is the next category.
Okay.
Or bikini, and I did both on both shows. And it was funny because on my first show I did really well in bikini and got all first and then seconds in figure.
Yep.
And then on my second show I did all first pretty much in figure and seconds in bikini.
That doesn't help you much, does it?
Exactly. So I was like, okay, so what should I do?
Which way do I go?
And so the judges and they just said either work on your legs, just bring the balance for either division, it doesn't matter. So I just kept going and working harder on my legs, and I think I look more balanced now.
No.
Yeah, but that was at the end of that season. I took a time off to work on it, and then at the end of the year, that's when I started prepping for another show that was supposed to happen in April, but then COVID happened.
Oh, okay.
So it got canceled.
So you had no goal.
And I was 5 weeks out, okay?
Oh,
you
damn.
have no idea.
How long did you diet for? How long did you dieting?
I usually start at 16. Well,
okay, so
at that time I started at 16. Right now I started a little bit more, 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you were well and truly into your diet, and
I was already like almost and
so that kind of stopped your motivation a bit.
Yeah.
Did it?
So that was discouraging, and it wasn't not just that, like everything closed. We had no gym to go to.
Yeah, you couldn't even go to the gym.
Yeah.
I was going to Sunset Park and doing chin-ups and things until it got too hot. But then it got too hot outside.
Exactly.
And then you couldn't do anything.
And then they closed the parks too.
Yeah, also that too.
There was a point where they were like boarding everything, with tape, so you can actually use the things that they have there to do pull-ups or something.
Yeah, you couldn't do anything, right?
My husband and I were going and just doing, push-ups, pull-ups, and things like that.
I was on the same page,
But they closed everything, and so after that, we were kind of like, what were we gonna do?
Let's sit home and eat.
Besides work, right? Besides work and eat. So I got heavy again.
Gotcha. So that was
both. We kind of both did, but then we started going into. This was I don't know if it happened in Vegas, because at that point we were in Washington.
Yep.
And so we were selling gym equipment. A lot of people were
at home stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were buying and then restoring and then selling.
Gotcha. That's also
gym equipment.
So many people, like, when bad things happen, the world's against me, it's a bad economy, we're going through recession, but then you get people who look for opportunities.
Yep. So
hey, there's a need right now.
Yeah.
So rather than complaining, listen to somebody's complaint. And that's something I learned from Richard Branson. Mm-hmm. It's like, people are struggling to work out, they haven't got equipment. Let's solve that problem and make some money along the way.
Yeah, and we started doing that, and it was pretty fun. It was my husband and I as a team. I would find the deals.
Where would you find it?
OfferUp, Marketplace, and Facebook.
Because people needed money at that time too, so they're probably getting rid of everything they could just to get some money to pay the bills.
Yeah, and and weights were kind of underrated at that point, because everybody thought that they didn't want them, and then everybody started wanting them. You know, so
weights and puppies.
Yeah, I know, and you have no idea. We had a sick setup in our condo.
Oh, I bet you did, because you probably kept the best equipment for yourself.
We kind of did. Yeah,
I would too.
Yeah, and we trained there in the afternoons, and after our work day was over, sometimes we had it and we really didn't train because we were so busy.
Yeah.
But we were restoring a lot of stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's how you and then you got your motivation back because you were able to train again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're making money, spending time with your husband.
Yes.
Just a win-win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Your dieting, you mentioned you do 20 weeks out.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about what you're eating, how often you're eating, your way of dieting, because I know there's a lot of different ways of doing it.
Yep.
And then did your husband teach you the way to diet?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what is your diet?
So
and also, how do you stay so lean? You must be on point all the time to stay really lean.
You kind of have to be obsessed.
Yeah,
it's
a full-time job, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are you eating? What are you not eating?
I mean, right now I want to have a productive off-season to improve my physique. So when next time I'm on stage, I'm perfect, and I have, they can say, okay, you have your pro card here.
Gotcha.
So
motivation.
Yeah, so that's my motivation, and so. But again, if I feel like I want a cookie, I'm gonna have a cookie and not feel sad or bad about it.
Okay.
That's my balance. A lot of people say, well, I need balance, but then their balance is like a full week of eating whatever they want.
I'm kind of on the same page. Is I'll eat good 90% of the time, but then when I want something, I'll have it. I won't beat myself up about it, and then the next day or the next meal, I'm back on track. Mm-hmm. Yep. And that's that.
That's how.
And that's all it needs to be, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's how it has to be. So
and it's probably at 85-90% good, and that 10%, 15% bad.
Right now, for me, it's about 95 because I do.
Which is pretty on point.
Especially because I am just reversing from a show, so I'm still increasing my calories to where I'm gonna stay.
Okay.
So
like your maintenance type weight.
Yeah. So
okay.
So I have to be very careful. So I don't put a lot of fat.
Yep.
And I actually put muscle. So, but most what I eat is oatmeal, rice, sweet potato. That would be for my carbs.
Like low GI carbs.
Yeah. Cream of rice too.
Okay. You like it?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
They sell it in different flavors now, so.
Oh, that's better, is it?
Yeah.
I've been there, done that.
But you know what? I have a tip. So you can buy the regular cream of rice, no flavor or anything, and they sell the flavoring, banana flavor. They sell maple flavor packet.
And you just throw it in.
I just put 2 drops of it, and you don't really need to buy the most expensive ones. Is the same. Yeah.
I like it. I like that too. I'm gonna have to try that out. And then you having protein with every meal. And how many meals are you having? Are you doing 6?
I'm having 6 if I can.
Okay.
But
you're not beating yourself up. Okay, but you're not beating yourself up about it if you don't hit that 6.
No. The 6th one is either just a protein shake. Right now, that's what I'm doing to be able to get it in.
Yep.
A protein shake, but usually it's just like egg whites.
Okay.
At night with some vegetables.
Just something short and quick. Yeah. And then as far as fats, what's good fats that you take?
So I'm having avocado, almonds, almond butter, olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil as well. You can even have some dark chocolate. I mean, honestly, that's also good fats.
Okay.
It has a lot of antioxidants too. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And is there anything you really suggest not eating if you're on a weight loss journey or you're trying to, like, it's obviously, I know like McDonald's is bad, but there's certain things you're like, hey, I won't touch soda, or I won't touch. Well, you know what,
the thing is that you see someone saying, oh, I lost weight, but you're in McDonald's all the time. I mean, you're gonna lose weight if you maintain yourself in a caloric deficit. Yeah, right.
But are you actually healthy?
Yeah, and my approach will change depending on if my client or the person I'm coaching is a lifestyle client or if it's a prep or a competitor.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Because a lifestyle, you want them to have something that is sustainable long term. In a prep, in a competitor, you literally are what you eat on stage. So the cleaner you eat, the better you're gonna look. So
okay.
That's why.
But they're also got a bigger goal, and they're more willing to take that sacrifice because they got that bigger goal.
Exactly.
Gotcha. A general person that comes to you looking to get healthier and lose weight, especially diet-wise, what's the first thing you kind of tell them?
Well, I want to know what their motivation is.
What
their
interesting.
first motivation is. What do you want to lose weight?
Gotcha. What type of answers are you getting to that?
Oh, because I want to just feel healthy. I got sick of not being able to go up sets of stairs or not being able to be fully active with my kids. Have young kids and they can't really do anything with them because they get exhausted too fast.
Yeah. And kids are a full-time job.
Or they got a dog during COVID.
Yeah.
And then the dog is like you're draining their energy and they just can't keep up.
They can't keep up.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you identify the goal and then you go from there.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Cardio. As far as weight loss, do you need to do it? Do you not need to do it?
I think that if you're training for when you're starting, if you are training with intensity and in the weight room, you don't need it.
As long as you die at some point, right?
It's as long as your diet at some point and you're actually training with intensity.
Okay.
So basically your rest periods in your weight training session are short.
Okay, keeping your heart rate up.
Keeping your heart rate up, just enough for you to recover to go into the second set.
Say we had a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being nothing, 10 being highest. What range would you say to be working at? Like a 7 out of 10? Is that a little too extreme? For
weight training?
Yeah, like what you would recommend.
Well, everybody starts somewhere.
Just someone who's experienced, I guess, looking to...
Yeah, you want to try to keep your heart rate between 130 and like 85% of your...
okay, so pretty high. You're working pretty hard.
Yeah.
And then your the weight sessions, how long do you recommend for? Like an hour, 45 minutes, longer?
An hour of... If you're training with someone, with a trainer, an hour would be sufficient because we will make sure that you're supersetting, that you're actually not taking those breaks, instead of 60 seconds that we say that we measured, instead you're taking a minute and a half, your phone texting or whatever in between sets.
You're kicking your clients' butts.
Exactly. So they're consistently working during the entire time. So.
Gotcha.
But about an hour. And if you are alone, then it shouldn't be more than an hour and a half.
Okay. With your prepping, your dieting for competition, you're incorporating any cardio? Are you adding it as a bonus?
Yeah, right now I am, because of the fact that I'm reversing into, I'm adding my calories back up, so I want to stay leaner or lean.
Okay, so you're compensating that with extra cardio.
Yeah, so then there's going to be a point though where I probably won't be doing that much because I actually, during my prep, I was doing about an hour and 10 minutes of cardio, so 70 minutes a day. Right now I'm doing only 30. So
okay. 70 minutes a day is a long time.
It came just completely down, right? So pretty much, I mean, 30 minutes and 5 days a week, it's not cardio.
No, it's not a big ask,
No,
but I feel like that's all I do if I'm lucky. And I feel like that's a really good balance. Yeah.
Yeah. I was doing literally 7 days of 70 minutes. So
gotcha.
But that was just because it was intense, or I was getting ready for that show. But I would say if you add 20 minutes, consistent 20 minutes
after your training,
after your training, you should be good, because we also want to take care of the
some heart health, right?
Yeah.
It's not all about the way we look.
Yep.
Biggest tips on weight loss?
Start. You have to start. Yeah.
What's a good way to start?
Finding someone that is going to guide you, that's going to help you throughout, when you have doubt, when you're doubting yourself. Oh, I can't do this, or
I'm not sure what to do.
I'm not sure what to do.
I'm not sure what to eat.
What should I eat? Should I follow the if fit my macros? Would that work?
So some guidance.
A lot of people do their research and find if it fits my macros, I'm gonna start doing that. But then they start putting the meals like McDonald's, and they track it, right? And yeah, although that's gonna be good, you probably are not gonna be giving your body the nutrients that it needs. So
definitely not fried.
Exactly. So, or fried, the potato chips.
As a vegetable.
Fries, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of sugar.
So finding guidance.
A lot of salt. Yeah.
And what about surrounding yourself with the right people? How do you kind of, if you're overweight or your friends are overweight, they're not healthy, how do you break away from that pack and create a new environment, a new pack to
move?
Yeah, it's easy said than done, though, isn't it?
Yeah. No. I was just joking.
No, but it's exactly what you did, though, wasn't it?
It was.
That's my next question for you in a second.
It's exactly kind of what I did. But it was. It is just surrounding yourself with the right people, and people that are goal oriented and have the same goal than you in some sort. Yeah, it doesn't have to be necessarily the same one, exactly the same one, but as long as they're doing something to take care of themselves. If you're looking to lose weight and they just go off and play tennis on the weekends, that's enough, right? Not everybody's going to be trying to get on stage and compete. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You mentioned before we started, like, coming from Mexico, your family being unhealthy. Talk to me more about that. Yeah.
My family, it's not that they're unhealthy, it's just that they love eating. We're Mexicans, we love eating. I mean, I do too.
But also, Mexicans are very family orientated, right? Yes. And with that family comes food, I've noticed.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of food, and so good. Trust me, I still miss it. I miss it. It's hard not to say no to. And I do take it, and I do have it once in a while, but now it's once in a while. It's not every day.
Yeah, okay.
So we always were, actually from within my family, I want to say that there are a lot of people that actually loved working out, did some sort of exercise. My brother liked basketball and soccer. Soccer is big in Mexico.
Yeah, so, huge.
My sister liked kickboxing growing up, and I was doing the gymnastics and and cheerleading and all that. And some other of my cousins did soccer too, and volleyball too. So there are a few of them that are actually national athletes in Mexico. So, but that's my generation. So we grew up with the generation of our parents that they were so focused on work and not necessarily on exercising that much, that the problem is not necessarily the food, it's the quantity and the fact that they didn't exercise enough.
Okay.
So
those habits aren't instilled.
It's the habits, yeah.
Yeah, you can have good or bad habits as far as... Yeah, I've got good habits of exercising because I was half an hour of TV after school and I was kicked outside.
Yep.
Therefore, I developed good habits, and I can thank my parents for that. 100%.
And I think that's probably what's happening with our daughter, because she wants us to train her. She waits for my husband to come home and train her in our apartment complex if I'm not home or if I'm still working.
How good is that? That's so the importance of being a good role model.
Yeah.
Childhood obesity.
Yeah, that's huge.
So you're being a good role. You and your husband have been a good role model to your daughter. She's been active. She's asking about it. She's probably asking about nutrition.
Yeah. So what should I eat?
you got to feel a sense of pride with that, don't you? You got to feel proud that, because you see it all the time. Children are overweight and parents are overweight and nobody's helping anybody. Yeah,
I think it's a miscommunication because between the schools and the parents. Right now, the parents think that the school is responsible to like feed their kids properly. And then
make them exercise.
Make them exercise. And then you go see what they're eating, and they're eating pizza, they're eating,
Do you know what they're eating? Talk to me about
it. She kind of tells me all the time.
Yeah, tell me what, because I didn't go to school here. So what are they? Is French fries a vegetable, like I hear? And
yeah,
it's disgusting.
I actually don't know because I didn't go to in the US either. But she tells me sometimes they will get like a piece of pizza or a hamburger, and that's it. Like things
that's
like
their
that.
lunch, right?
Yeah. So they're or like chicken teriyaki one time, I think she said. But who knows if that's not gonna have like chicken a lot of nuggets, sugar and things like that. So you don't know. I'd rather just for her I get her protein bars and bananas and
and you send food to it. Yeah. Is it kind of not frowned upon, but can kids get bullied if they take?
Yeah.
So if kids take food from home, it's not cool.
It's not cool, unfortunately.
That's scary, isn't it?
But that's where that's where the parents at home should say to your kid, to you as to their kid, to stop, because bullying's happening everywhere, not just because you bring your food from home, but because of how you look. It's just like, oh, you're looking too shabby, or oh, you're looking too skinny, so there's right now the era of all kids right now in high school want to get buff,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which is scary, because it makes you want to extreme. They're going to take that to, and that probably comes from social media and everybody.
I mean, we hear kids and young kids talking about PEDs and stuff. So
really,
not even 18 years old and already
that's crazy,
trying to
right?
thinking about it, but that's
just the thought they even know about it.
Yeah, exactly. The thought that they just know about it.
I had a conversation the other day where, when I was a kid, I didn't think about how I looked. I had long hair. I wasn't worried what I was wearing. I wasn't worried what I looked like. I wasn't trying to impress everybody. And I've never felt so free in my life. And as you get older, you start to worry about these little stupid things that mean nothing in life. But because of the media, society, it's put on a pedestal, and we strive to be this person to impress other people. For I have no idea why we do it.
And then you grow up and you realize, I don't know what I was thinking.
It's nuts, right?
I didn't enjoy probably one of the funnest part, eras
exactly.
of my time, because I was worried about a lot of things that don't matter really anymore right now.
Being in school was like one of the best times of my life. Zero worries, and I just surfed all day, and I was so happy.
I was always so stressed, but it was because of me. I always like having like really straight A's and stuff. So but that's a whole different thing, right? Fun. Yeah, I still have a lot of fun. Yeah.
Love it. Okay, so top 3 killers in America and Australia and Mexico, diet related: heart disease, diabetes, and a lot of form of cancers. What do we do?
Exercise.
What do we do as far as how do we influence people to you're the perfect example. I always say this: most people don't make a change until they have to. Pre-diabetic. You are the perfect example of that. You were lucky enough, you're pre-diabetic. It wasn't a heart attack, it wasn't a stroke, didn't get some type of cancer. You were lucky. And I'm not saying pre-diabetic isn't anything, but it's probably one of the better versions of what it could have been. How do we get people to take change make action before pre-diabetic?
You know, I think that people just need to start creating habits. But as fitness influencers, I want to say, we should lead by example. You know, you don't want to go to a gym and see that your trainer is overweight or, you know, doesn't look apart.
Which you actually see a lot of it these days.
Yeah,
exactly. It kind of blows my mind, actually.
Yeah, or they're asking for nutrition advice to someone that is not, you know, doesn't know what they're doing. That's
a big thing, right? I don't go to a fat personal trainer, don't go to broke financial planner, go to people who look the part and who are actually leading the life that you're trying to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's not necessarily that just because you have the degree, that doesn't mean that you know everything.
You got to put the time in too.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer is 50% is knowing and the other 50% is actually doing.
Exactly.
So you get some really, hey, I studied at university, I know everything about exercise science, but I've never lifted a weight in my life.
Exactly.
I've just lifted weights and I've never actually studied the science side of it.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to kind of have both.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, right now it's happening, like people that are doing their engineering or creating exercise equipment, it's like they do not work out. Because
well, that's another thing too, isn't it? Yeah.
Some of them are so complicated to use, or they just not adhere to how the body actually moves for the movement that you want to do in the machine.
I never thought about that.
So yeah, so it's like
I always thought as a gym buff at home, like creating equipment, but it may not actually be.
Yeah, there's a lot of things out there that I just like, oh my god, this machine is so not well engineered.
That's crazy.
Yeah, or designed. Yeah.
What happens if you got if you got someone in your family and you see them going downhill and you know they need to take action?
Yeah.
What's your advice? What do you tell that daughter to say to the mom, or how?
I actually have a few people from my family. I have my brother in a program. I am one of my cousins also in a program.
How did you get across to them to take action?
Well, they saw
leading by example, right?
Exactly, it's lead by example. So they saw how well I'm doing, and I try to post on my Facebook. Facebook for me is basically for my family.
Okay.
So they see my progress there, my family and friends from when I was in Mexico. And it's funny because I used to get a lot of likes, a lot of comments, oh, your progress is super good, and how are you doing this? But as the time progressed and passed, less likes, less comments.
Very quiet, doesn't it?
Exactly.
My social media is so quiet, but I am so present.
Yeah, and I think it is because they see something that they think they can't do, and that scares them. And so instead of doing that, the people that reached out or they reach out to you, those are people that actually want change in their life, and people that you should just try to help.
Yeah.
So
I got that. So
yeah, so you can't really help someone that doesn't want to be helped. You know?
No, you don't, and unfortunately, that person's going to want to be helped to go through something bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you, booty building secrets. Obviously, you do bikini. Booty's a big part of it. What do the girls do out there?
Oh, a lot of booty exercises. But yeah, a lot of hip thrust.
Is hip thrust like the number one thing? This is the same answer I keep getting.
I'm gonna tell you something. A lot of people don't. Hip thrust is one of the best exercises to build your glutes, but I think I got my glute development the most when I started deadlifting.
Deadlifting, gotcha. Straight leg deadlift?
Conventional deadlift. Because you use...
sumo or just regular?
It's regular, conventional, okay. Yes. And I think it is because I'm short, my range of motion is shorter, so I actually have to use my legs way more than anything else.
Okay.
However, I do all the variations, RDL, so the Romanian deadlifts and the sumo deadlifts and all of that with, just focusing on the contraction of the muscle.
So the deadlifts as a staple for you. Gotcha.
And I think one of the most important things is before you start your compound moves, you should definitely activate your glutes.
How do you do that?
With a band.
Okay. I've heard the booty bands. Talk to me about the booty bands.
They work. They work for a lot of things.
Okay.
You know, you can use them not just for your glutes. You can use them for a lot of other places, for your triceps too.
I like pulling out while you. Okay.
Right, and if you're doing a skull crush, you can put your band right here, and that will help you keep the tension in between.
Yeah, rather than like flaring.
Flaring up. That's why the cue that I tell my clients, and the one that I use, every time you're losing tension is because you're trying to lose form. So
which is 100% true.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you lose the tension, exactly. Yeah. So that's just like the cue for you to say, okay, I'm about to fail here, or it's time to decrease the weight, and you always want to target a range between 12 to 15 if you want to. Well, if you're working for hypertrophy, but if you want to build, you have to do progressive overload and do, you know, those first set 8 to 10, and then 6 to 8, and then 4 to 6, you know, and then one rep max, you know, kind of thing.
Gotcha. Yeah. With the when you're talking about the bands or the booty activation to start off with, what do you recommend doing? How long do you do it for? What exercises are you doing with the band before you get into your workout? So
you can put your band between your legs, and you can do side lateral.
Okay, like kind of like a quarter squat, right?
A quarter squat, and then you can
just like a crab walk.
Yes.
Yeah.
And or you can go and do and walking with the band.
Oh, just forwards.
Just forward.
Gotcha. And that's activating your glutes.
Same. Activates your glutes.
Is that mind muscle connection there?
It's mind muscle connection.
Okay.
And also activates and helps warming up your hip flexors. You're gonna need everything, you know, to work on your booty, especially if you're gonna squat. Squat is one of those that also is very good for the glutes and the legs. So, but you want to be really, really warm.
It's also easy to avoid using your glutes and using
something else. Exactly.
Yeah, just going through the motion opposed to the muscle you're trying to activate.
So a lot of presses too, glute kickbacks can be with machine or with cables. I find that machines, when you do isolateral work, which is just individual work, if you do machines, it is easier to actually work better the muscle.
You don't have to worry about all the moving parts, do you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But when it's a cable or when it's dumbbell or something, it's a little bit more. You really have to be focused, and really, really be focused on what you're doing and what you're feeling.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Talk to me more about that.
Yeah.
Like, I know you see it all the time. People just going through the motions. I'm like, okay, this is the tricep exercise.
Yeah.
What part of the tricep, and am I using the tricep 100% of the time while I'm doing this exercise?
You know, it's funny that you mentioned, because my husband and I, we both use the with consent touch, you know, touch on the muscle.
On the client. So they know. So they know. I do that with my rear delts a lot for myself.
The rear delts, exactly.
Just to make sure those things are triggering.
Even the glutes, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, we will use a pen or something.
Okay, so the client knows what muscle they're doing, and are they actually
right here.
Gotcha. Exactly. And you can feel if it's triggering too, can't you?
Yeah,
so you can both tell.
After we show them, they can actually do and you know, do the touch for themselves, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling the.
So simple, but so much benefit to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, you know, that you don't necessarily need a lot of weight. You just need to really focus on the contraction
and the time under tension.
And the time under tension, tempo. So if you're gonna do tempo on the concentric, you know, focus on the opening 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you're gonna go in the eccentric, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
1, 1, 2, 3. So it's just like it depends.
Hard, and it sucks, and it burns.
And then try to do that. Try to do that for 15 reps, right?
Yeah.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah, I was doing it must have been back today. I was like pinching, slow, not very heavy, but I was like, my back is getting pumped like crazy now.
Every muscle has to be, you know, every time you're working the muscle you're working, you always have to feel it that it's contracted.
And all this stuff you're saying, it takes you years and years to figure out yourself. Yeah. Unless you get a husband, or you hire a coach, and that's what you're getting at, right?
Yep,
the benefit,
exactly.
you literally shave years off your progression.
Yes.
By learning the right thing to start off with.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Love that. Finally, longevity. You're 39?
Right. Yes.
How old do you feel?
I feel 25.
Which is amazing, right?
Yeah.
I'm 42. I still feel like I'm in my 20s.
Honestly, I feel much better health-wise, physically, and everything.
You're strong, you're flexible.
Than when I was in my 20s. So I feel like I definitely feel and look better. I mean, if you see pictures before, when I was in my 20s, it was like, what? How?
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. And to think that I actually started working towards this and my physique at 33.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, that's not young to start.
Exactly.
But guess what? Here you are.
Doable. Exactly.
Yeah,
and it's
here
doable.
You are. And if you're 43, you can get started today too.
Yep. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are. I tell all my clients, give this at least 1 month with your diet, because your diet alone, changing your diet alone, is gonna make you feel so much better. You're gonna be able to sleep better. You're not gonna be feeling so bloated. You're gonna be able to have more energy throughout the day, do things that you thought that you couldn't do, perform better at the gym.
That afternoon nap disappears.
Yeah, exactly. And instead of taking the nap, they just decide to go on a walk with their dog.
Yeah, you got the option to actually go and do more.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
So that's, I think, building muscle is also a must for longevity, because the building muscle and lifting weights, strength training is proven to help with bone density.
Yep.
So osteoporosis, osteoarthritis, all of those are illnesses that are bone related. So DEXA scan actually tells you what your bone density is. So it's important for you to know, especially for women that in their 40s, usually bone disease it starts after 40. But my bone density went up so much since I started working out. I have one when I was in 2017.
Yep.
A DEXA scan, and you see both, and right now my bone density is like doubled.
Which is so important for females, especially.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we go into like heart health and less likely to have a heart attack, get diabetes, all those things that I think a lot of people think that you've got to get it.
Yeah.
You don't actually have to get diabetes. You don't have to have heart disease. You can avoid most of it.
I feel like right now society feels that they're preconceived to be some sort of way.
That something's going to get them,
and
right?
that something is going to happen, whether they do something to change it or not. But they don't try for that thing to not happen.
Yeah.
It's just like they give up before even trying.
It's kind of like COVID. Nobody ever said, "Hey, get healthier and lose weight."
Exactly.
Everyone's like, "Put a mask on and cross your fingers, hope for the best."
Yes, exactly.
And guess 80% of people who died from COVID were overweight or in the elderly.
Yeah. And I think my husband and I, we got it, and it didn't do really nothing to us. I mean,
exactly, right?
I kept working out at home because we were at home.
Yeah. people in my house got it, and I don't think I may have got it. I don't know if I got it.
Yeah, everybody was just just a minor flu or whatever.
The healthier you are, if you fall, if you have a car accident, if anything happens to you, you've got a better chance of recovering.
Yes, exactly.
And you're going to recover a lot faster.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think also longevity wise, if you want to take care of yourself right now, start so you can live longer for your kids. And to set an example.
Finding that reason, right?
Because find the reason that's going to motivate you to actually start. Because what I said before, you just have to start, and stay consistent. To create a habit, you have to do it 21 times or something like that. 21
there's so many
times
different ways.
for 7 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it's 21 times for 7 weeks. So, exercising, eating healthy, eating your meals, and then if you go off track on one meal and you decide to have 2 cookies, that's fine. Just go back on track the next one, and you should be fine.
That's habits are everything.
So everything.
And then finally, it's just like being in the 40s, being in late 30s, the quality of life. It's like there's people our age, like we're a very similar age. There's people our age who quality of life sucks. They're just getting by. They're surviving. They're not enjoying life. They're surviving. And as you get older, most people are just surviving. They're not. They can't, like you said, they can't run across the street. They can't keep up with the kids. They can't go hiking up that mountain. So for me, longevity is more than just being healthy. It's having a good quality of life for as long as possible too.
Exactly. And just remember, you know, that don't kid yourself, or don't lie to yourself with excuses. You know, say, oh, I just have to work. I have too much work to do. I have too much
no time,
this,
no money.
I have no time. I have no money. You have no money to hire a coach or to hire a trainer. Yet you're spending $150 maybe a week in Starbucks, in coffee that you can make at home.
Cigarettes, alcohol,
you know, just on coffee. Coffee in Starbucks is so expensive. And you know, you can definitely pay for, well, not necessarily a coach or a trainer at that point, but you know, accumulate that in a month, and that comes about $500. And at that point, you can actually get someone that's going to help you.
Making it important enough where you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was absolutely a pleasure. Got a lot of value out of that. Hope you guys got some value out of that.
Thank you.
We'll catch you next time.